All right, you guys, welcome to the latest edition, special edition of the Grappling Monthly Podcast. I'm very excited, very happy to be here at Omni Jiu Jitsu Academy. And is it South Los Angeles?
We're in South Los Angeles. South Central, actually. Heart of South Central.
There we go. With Coach Nick Haider.
Hey, guys.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Sebastian.
I appreciate it. Yeah. We're going to get to know the coach, the program, the school, all sorts of fun stuff. And as usual, if you guys are enjoying the content that we're putting out for Grappling Monthly, please leave a comment, subscribe, like. Even if you don't like it, leave a comment. It helps us get engagement and continue to put out as much jiu-jitsu stories and content as we possibly can. So without any further ado, let's get started.
Yes, sir.
All right. How did you come across jiu-jitsu, and what is it about jiu-jitsu that made you come back for that second class?
So I got started in jiu-jitsu specifically back in the, 19 years ago.
Okay.
I was competitively kickboxing, and I got, exposed to MMA, and I had a very good friend that did jiu-jitsu at the time, and it was very rare because I was in Northern California, and there weren't a lot of jiu-jitsu schools there, particularly the North Bay. And so my good friends were like, well, you got to do some kind of grappling.
Yeah.
You're too old to do wrestling, so you better do jiu-jitsu. So I started jiu-jitsu. And so in my school that I trained at is called Modern Combatives. I would commute from Sonoma County all the way down to the East Bay, like 4 times a week to start training. Right. And I just trained as much as I possibly could. I was working 8 full-time too. At the time I was a chef, and so I worked like 80 hours a week and then go down there whenever I had a chance.
Nice.
And that's how I got into jiu-jitsu, because I wanted to do MMA.
Right.
And this was, back in the day when,
early 2000s.
Pride was still there too. Yeah, early 2000.
Nice.
Or not 2000, 20, what was that? I said 20 years ago, so 2005. Yeah, early 2000s, you're right. Yeah, sorry, I always get my math mixed up.
Yeah, no, I mean, I said 20 years ago, and when I'm thinking about 1995, and I realized, no, that's longer.
Yeah.
Nice. Did you, so you initially, your contact with martial arts was through striking. Was it a difficult transition for you to get to grappling, or did you always know that was like a piece of the puzzle that you wanted to fit into your overall?
Well, oddly, I used to get in trouble all the time for clinching when I would kickbox.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And before I even started my first jiu-jitsu class, my good friend, we would, grapple, because he had some friends. And we had this giant living room in our house and no furniture in it. So we would just grapple in there, and I would get my butt kicked all the time. And I was just like, this stuff is cool, but I love it.
Yeah.
And, I had been doing martial arts since I was 7, so I got exposed to a lot of different martial arts.
Yeah.
So the grappling, oddly, and this is going to sound weird, I did a lot of Tai Chi for like years and years and years.
Okay, yeah.
And the Tai Chi actually helped me transition into grappling really well.
Interesting.
Because I learned about body mechanics and like proper alignment in there. And so it made grappling much easier transition.
Nice.
But I had, and the aggression from kickboxing.
Right.
Yeah. So
not the aggression from Tai Chi.
No, not at all. No.
Very Zen practice, right? Yeah.
So that's
cool.
Pretty much how that happened.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's all right. Yeah. And so, but I mean, from there, did you compete in MMA?
Yeah, I did. So when I started, I took to jiu-jitsu pretty quickly. Understanding like the idea behind it, the rule sets behind it, all those things, but with only the goal really to do MMA. It wasn't to compete in jiu-jitsu.
Right.
And so a lot of it was, not very finessey. It was very MMA focused jiu-jitsu.
Right.
And so I had my first fight within I want to say the second year I was into jiu-jitsu.
Okay, wow.
In Portland, Oregon. It was the Rumble at the Roseland. Up in Portland, in Oregon in particular, Pacific Northwest, MMA is like really big. So there's a lot of good promotions. And this was before, California didn't have amateur MMA at the time.
Okay.
So it was a sanctioned MMA fight, amateur MMA fight, full, we didn't have to wear pads, no headgear, nothing like that. So it's just regular MMA. Just the rounds are a little shorter. And it was cool. Chael Sonnen was at the fight. We got like a fight of the night, and we were the 125ers.
Nice.
So, you know, it was
Mighty Mouse's category, huh?
Yeah, the Mighty Mouse, exactly. And you know, so I had 2 sanctioned fights up there. I did a lot of smokers, and kind of aged out of MMA. Well, I moved up there specifically. I moved to Portland to go train full time. So I was training with Greg Thompson, a former Team Quest strength and conditioning coach, who opened his own MMA gym, and he was Nathan Quarry was out of there, Chris Laban. Ed Herman, a few other guys, and so I got some really good exposure, and that's where I kind of got into like the wrestling side of it. So because there was a lot of wrestlers up there, and you know, I loved the MMA. I loved it. The problem at the time was also there was no flyweight divisions, pro flyweight divisions in the United States.
WEC maybe at some point?
They didn't even have flyweight at the time. No, I would have had to go over to Asia to fight professionally.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So, you know, we trained for it. We trained. You know, the Greg was like, hey, you know, we could put weight on you. But my natural walking around weight was 128.
Okay.
So I was like, I don't know. And then you know, I started late. So, you know, I kind of pushed that aside. And my wife, she also trains. You know, she wanted to move to Los Angeles to finish grad school. So we ended up moving to LA. And, you know, LA at the time was not an MMA town, really. I mean, it kind of still isn't, in my opinion. But unless you go to like way south or Orange County. So I asked around, and one of my colleagues in Portland, she was like, oh, you should train with Shawn Williams.
Nice.
And so I found Shawn Williams. Well, actually, I didn't find him. He had been transitioning out of Hollywood BJJ, hadn't opened his academy yet in K-Town. So I tried a bunch of different schools, and you know, I just wasn't in love with them. And then one day I was looking up again new schools, you know, and his website popped up, brand new school opening up in K-Town, which I happened to be living in K-Town right when I first moved here, and it was like perfect.
Nice.
And I was there ever since. So.
Right on. Yeah. A colleague of mine, Uday Malhotra, shout out Uday. He actually started at Hollywood BJJ.
Okay. Yeah.
That's funny. Small world.
Yeah, for sure.
And I keep realizing that even in a city of 13 million people, like the jiu-jitsu community is small.
Oh yeah. And, everybody knows everybody.
Yeah. That's very cool. So I mean, Shawn Williams, that's a great reference in terms of like absolute stud in the art. So you definitely picked somebody, you know, to learn a great deal from.
Absolutely. I'm super grateful that I found him. Yeah.
Nice. I think we can still hear him commentating some of the different fights that are out there.
Yeah, he's been commentating with Flo for the Who's Number One quite often. He left LA, opened his new school in Nashville. He actually just opened a second academy in Nashville, which has got more of an MMA focus. He's got some really great grapplers out there and fighters. He's got a great Muay Thai coach there as well, striking coach. And you know, some really cool, exciting things should be coming out of the Nashville gym. Nice. I've only been down there once because opening a gym, I haven't had the opportunity to get out here very often. But when he comes out here, I visit him, and he's done a seminar here.
Nice.
Yeah, he's an amazing coach. I mean, just a wealth of like jiu-jitsu knowledge. I always say, because he's been commentating since early 2000s, way back in the day, and he's watched the highest level competitors and commentated on them for years. Yeah. And, you know, he's, like I said, he's a consummate study of jiu-jitsu. Like he knows their games before they even go out there. Right. So he's the way, you know, that naturally trickles into his teaching. And so you can ask him a question about anything or any match that's been happened, and he can tell you like, this is what happened. This is why this didn't happen. And so he's extremely generous in that sense. Very cool. Very cool. And just a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you didn't intend on competing in jiu-jitsu. Does that lead me to believe that you did ultimately?
No, I did. Yeah. So, I mean, so when I moved to Oregon, I was training at New Breed, which is their Carlson affiliate. Okay. And we would come down and compete down here. So my first real competition was a no-gi IBJJF Worlds. I did horribly. Wasn't prepared for it. I was a blue belt, and I have to say I was a pretty lousy blue belt because it was an MMA focused blue belt. And, you know, when I went to Shawn's, I was like, holy shit, this is another level of blue belt. But it was a lot of fun. I mean, and then when I got to Shawn's, I would train like 6 days a week. I would do like 2-a-days. I would train as much as I possibly could, given my work schedule. I mean, I was there all the time, first in, last off. And I don't mean that, I'm not saying that as a brag. It's just, I loved it so much. Like, I just wanted to be there as much as I could. And so, you know, competing kind of came naturally into that because I was doing it so much. And, you know, we had a pretty, our competition team, our early competition team, you know, we would have our comp team days, and it would, you know, it was like just hard training, drilling. And man, I loved it. It was so I just started competing, and my wife and I were both doing the comp team thing, and it was just like, you know, we would compete every month if we could. You know, if there was a competition, we go to Arizona, go to Nevada, wherever we could to compete. You know, and I did so. You know, like my thing was like I'm a slow starter. Like back even when I kickbox, like I need to get hit in the face a few times to like wake up. And you know, in jiu-jitsu, like stuff happens like that. So
especially if you're doing no-gi too. Right?
Well, I was doing both, but the first comp I did was no-gi. I mean, I have a whole box of T-shirts still in my closet because I want to make a quilt out of it. From all the competitions. I mean, it's a big box. So, you know, if anything,
The quilt is actually a really good idea. I think I mentioned to you, I met my wife doing capoeira, right? And did that for a long period of time. And every time you would go to an event, you know, you visit another school, sometimes another city, there's a T-shirt for the event, right? You pay your admission and the workshops and whatever, and you get a T-shirt. And I ended up with all of these T-shirts that I had no other reason to wear. So they ended up being sleep shirts. And I wish I would have thought of a quilt because that's such a better use. You know what I mean? Very cool. Did you find that the MMA, and this is just like maybe out of my own personal curiosity, did you find that MMA training prepared you at least for the intensity of the jiu-jitsu competition? Or was it
no.
No?
I mean, it's so different. Like MMA is just, it's its own sport. It really is its own sport, especially now. But like the MMA, even the way that you train for it, the cardio is different. It's when I was focused mainly on jiu-jitsu, like the MMA part of it actually didn't help me as much.
Okay.
It got me in trouble, if anything. I think.
Interesting.
And no, I had to like rethink how I conducted myself on like my body, use my body to get better at jiu-jitsu. Like, and that's why I kind of say like Tai Chi really helped because it's like, you slowed me down. I was just like, go at first.
I imagine.
I mean, all the way up until like later blue belt. And then I went until purple belt. Shawn was like, Nick, you can only play guard and that's it for the next, whatever, how many months.
Oh yeah, he put you in the corner, eh?
yeah. He's like, only play guard. You need to play guard. And then everything changed.
Nice.
I slowed down and also getting older makes you a little wiser.
Fair enough. Yeah. I have to find novel ways of dealing with the young bloods that are, you know, just ready to go.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the thing about what I like about when like MMA guys come in here and train, or when I've trained with guys that do MMA, is their intensity and their go, or wrestlers too. Like they don't have a gas, they don't have a quit. They don't have a break. And when you put a person who's only ever done jiu-jitsu up against one of those guys, they're like, oh, this is different. You know what I mean? But eventually you figure it, like when you're confident with your jiu-jitsu, you kind of figure it out. That, these are the things I need to do. I don't need to I don't need to match their pace. And that's something I learned early on is like, don't fight the other guys. Fight your own fight. And, you know, so I'm not saying anything against MMA. MMA wrestling, like, incredible. I love that their work ethic because you have to have a different work ethic. Even like, so when I have guys that want to compete here, you know, I kind of put them through a camp like what I would do MMA camp. Not nearly as intense because they're not striking, but intensive in that, like, yeah, no, you got to put the time in and be ready. You know, I tell you guys, you know, you don't want to get ready. You want to be ready when you get out there. And the competition doesn't start when you walk in the door, when you get on the mat, right? It's the camp, and you're going to be miserable in the camp. And when I say miserable, meaning like, it's hard work. It's a lot of work. You got to do your conditioning. You got to do all those things to prepare so that when you go out there, the work's been done and you're just going to go have fun and kick some butt or whatever you do. And you know, but you know, you put all the work in, because it's horrible to go out there. And I know what that feels like, unprepared. Like 100%. What the hell's going on?
100%.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it starts, you know, you're in that mode up until the competition. When you're driving to the competition, the night before, all that, your brain has to be in that zone. And you got to get there.
I think, well, you're absolutely right. I mean, I chuckle because my first experience with the competition was like, oh, I'm just going to go see how I do. You know what I mean? Which is the wrong mindset. You know, no camp, no nothing, showed up. And it was, I'm going to say, a rude awakening, you know, like, oh, okay, so people are taking this shit seriously. So then the second one was a bit better, but there was that preparation that you referred to, right? Which I think, I don't know if you agree, but I think I get more out of the preparation than I do the actual competition. Like, if I win, great. If I lose, there's something to be learned for sure. And then, of course, people you meet, friendships you make, and stuff like that. But really, it's the lead up that, you know, is paying dividends down the line. 100%.
And in the academy setting, when there's a competition and we have a group of people that are getting ready for it, it kind of elevates everybody in the room, because those people are the people helping them get there. And it shows on the mats, the intensity, the drive. You know, combat sports are individual sports, but, you know, it takes a whole group of people and a team to get you where you want. And for me, like, I really emphasize that with the community here, because, you know, you want to feel supported. Like, the thing I noticed in difference between competing in kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, and MMA, when I competed in MMA and kickboxing, like, you have like your team behind you, your corner. You know what I mean? In jiu-jitsu, you don't have a corner. Like, at least in my experience, I mean, you have people kind of supporting you there. You have your team there, other people, but it's not the same. And that feeling, that support that you get by having a corner changes the way you feel when you go out on the mats. And so, like, I try to, like, make the people that are competing feel like they have a corner. To me, that's important. Even though you have one coach mat side, at the same time, you want to feel like that all the way at the lead up to that. Your corner's there, your training partners are there, everybody's there to support you. If you need something, like when I go to you need somebody to run and get you a water. Oh, shoot, I got to get a new belt because they don't like my belt. These kinds of things. Like, you want to have that support. 100%. So I try to make everybody have a firm understanding that they have that support, and so they don't have to think about anything else but what they're doing, which is to compete.
That's awesome. You were competing at one point. It strikes me as though there was a shift and you began to coach at some point, right? And had you coached before, or was it something that was new to you, and like, how did you take to it?
So well, there's kind of two pieces to that.
Okay.
So I when I was kickboxing and doing karate, I was teaching, because the karate school I trained at, we did a lot of kickboxing. That's where I started kickboxing. We did Western style kickboxing. So I was coaching in kickboxing at the same time. So I'd already been doing that. At the MMA gym I was at, I was coaching striking.
Oh, okay, nice.
And you know, learning jiu-jitsu. So and then when I went to Shawn's gym, a 5-star RDLA, I started coaching, I want to say, like mid-brown belt, brown belt. So I coached for him for like 5 years.
Nice.
And then COVID happened, and then I opened this gym. But so I had done a lot of coaching before that. And then, you know, my prior life before being a jiu-jitsu instructor, I was a chef. I cooked for like over 20 years. And as a head chef at the restaurant I worked for like 14 years. You know, my job was to train people, right? And
fair enough,
but all my sous chefs, I mean, I trained everybody from like dishwasher all the way up to sous chef. I had a sous chef that was with me for like 7 years.
Nice.
so like people management has always been kind of I kind of put those two things together. Like coaching, it's more about coaching. Like when you're a chef, you're not telling people what to do. It's like you're nurturing them and coaching them to be better cooks, to be, whatever, and to progress. And so those kind of things trickled into my coaching on the mats.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, work themselves out that way.
Nice.
So, yeah, it felt natural.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
I like that you mentioned people management because, like in a corporate setting or in a restaurant setting, like in any business, it's such a big component of a successful team. And it's really not that dissimilar from what's happening in jiu-jitsu schools, right? Or lack thereof sometimes. Yeah. But, it's not referred to as maybe people management formally, but it's very much the same thing. It's, it's developing talent. It's guiding people, it's coaching them, it's providing direction. If you're the person at the head of the school, it's having that vision and communicating it effectively. All these things that are in that corporate pitch deck or what have you, right? Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I want to add. I would say the difference is like they're paying you, whereas you're paying them in a work setting. Yeah, so it kind of changes the dynamic a little bit.
Enough, yep.
In the sense that you can only give them what they want.
Yeah.
Instead, you can't force things down people's throat. You may have the answer to the thing because you're the coach and you see a lot of things that people can't see when they're doing it. And I don't mean that in a authoritative way. I mean, like watch anybody, you can, training or whatever they're doing. Sometimes you'll see the holes that they can't see because they're in it. But you can't be didactic about it when you're coaching people that are, they're your clients at the end of the day.
Of course.
So, there's a balance, an important balance that you have to make.
Yeah. Very cool.
It's different. Yeah.
So you mentioned COVID, which just changed the entire landscape, I think, especially hit jiu-jitsu schools and people that trained closely, physically, really hard. And so there's a transition at some point, and then you mentioned that you opened this place here. So tell me about that. Like, how did that come about? Yeah.
So when right before COVID, Shawn had decided to move to Nashville because he started his family and he wanted to raise his kids out there. And, there was a transition at Renzo Gracie, Los Angeles, 5-star. So a different management team took over and then COVID hit. And so we kind of had to shut everything down, obviously.
Yeah.
And so, the soup changed a little bit. And then, I had given it a lot of thought prior about always wanting to kind of teach. And once the school was completely shut down, I talked to my wife about it. I really want to open an academy here in South LA because there is no jiu-jitsu within 6 miles of here.
That's
jiu-jitsu is traditionally kind of a more affluent person's sport. It's pretty expensive. And I took a big risk in opening an academy here in South LA just because, it's not a traditionally affluent area. So people don't necessarily have $250 to $300 to train, whatever.
Yeah.
But that my intention when I opened the school was to provide a space for people in the community and build the community. And I had talked to Shawn, and this is after he moved, and we had several conversations about it. And I was like, hey, Shawn, this is what I want to do. I explained it, went through it, and gave me his blessing basically.
Nice.
And so through COVID, I was just kind of stewing it in my brain how I would do it.
Yeah.
Because, we couldn't do anything at the time. And, but we had a group of people that my older students, and we would train at my house. So I live in not a traditional, I live in a storefront. And so we have this huge giant backyard, this concrete. So I built this giant deck that's 14 feet by 14 feet, bought some mats, and, we would train 4 days a week. And, so we kept the training going, kept the instruction going. And then when things kind of calmed down, I started looking for a place to put my academy. And originally I was going to put it in Inglewood because I live in Inglewood. But you know, I ran into some problems with Inglewood zoning and stuff.
Yeah.
And so where the academy is now is on Gage Avenue in LA. And I would drive, you know, it's on my way home. I would drive past this building that we're in all the time.
Nice.
And it was empty. And then one day I saw that it was occupied. So it's run by, there's a cabinetry shop down below, two different businesses. And I was like, man, because I always loved this building. I just thought it was the coolest building for an academy. And then, so then, you know, some time went by and I was like searching around on the internet for open spaces. And then this building popped up.
Nice.
At the upper floor.
Yeah.
And so I contacted the guy and I said, you know, this is what I want to do. I want to open a jiu-jitsu academy, but also, you know, blah, 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 et cetera. And he's like, well, why don't you come by and, you know, come check it out. And so you know, he came in and he's like, yeah, I'm open to you having a jiu-jitsu academy here. Nice. And I was like, yeah, it's a really low footprint. You know, basically we just need to put mats down and have running water.
Yeah.
And then I was able to kind of negotiate a better rental price, you know, because, you know, I was like, you know, I'm just starting my business.
Yeah.
I'm funding this business myself. So like nobody invested in me. I did it all myself, you know, and he gave me some leeway and allowed me to open the academy here. And we've been here for 4 years now. And I have a great relationship with the people downstairs. If I need lumber, if I need something built, they'll build it for me. You know what I mean? I love the guys downstairs.
That's a good connection to have, yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a really nice relationship.
Very
really
cool.
Good guys.
Yeah. So that's interesting. I think, you know, you're probably one of a few people now that really, I'm going to say leverage, for lack of a better term, that pandemic, that kind of pause where the world kind of came to a screeching halt for a second there to like assess like, okay, where am I at and what do I want to do moving forwards? What can I do moving forwards? And I guess it's really cool that you know, found a way to continue working with jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
How were you connected to Guardian before, or how did that come about?
Yeah, no. So when I opened the academy, I held off on starting the youth program because I really wanted to model it. I wanted it to be for underserved kids in the community.
Right. Yeah.
Up at 5-star RGLA, I was teaching kids, and that was fine. But a lot of the kids I was working with weren't really there because they wanted to be there. It was more like their parents brought them, and most of the time I didn't even know the kids' parents because I met their nannies, you know, things like this.
Okay, yeah.
So it was, you know, different. So I held off on starting the kids program because I wanted to have a good model for it. And I knew about Guardian because Guardian started in like 2014 or 15. So I contacted Guardian about, you know, just kind of talking to them about how their program runs and so on and so forth. And they invited me up to see it because they're in Northern California at the time. And I spoke with Calder, who's the executive director. And he opened the doors to me and welcomed me in and just, you know, it was just like an open book. Yeah. And I got so much. I was so just pumped up about doing the kids program. So then I came back to LA and started working it out on paper. And I had a couple of kids that I was teaching, but it wasn't like a full kids program. And then they contacted me a couple months later and asked me if I wanted to be their third affiliate.
Nice.
So the first one was in East Bay, Oakland, and then Baltimore was the second one, and then we were like the third official domestic one. Yeah. Yeah. And you know, we just acquired our own 501c3 status this year, like Baltimore has. Yeah. Right. So now we're still part of Guardian, but we're just like now we have our own 501c3 status, which will allow us to kind of funnel grants and donations to us directly. Nice. Which makes it, you know, because there's a lot more that are LA focused. Yeah. In terms, especially youth programs. And I
understand it also matters where your donors are from and where you're located, right?
Correct.
Like it's complicated for somebody in Florida to donate over here, maybe. Or
I mean, the more complex part is like what communities we're serving, right? I see. If you're under a general umbrella, it's kind of harder since we're in a opportunity zone in South Central LA, we're more, because now it's just South Central LA, we are more able to focus on donors that want to uplift this area.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And
cool.
because all of the funding for Guardian is only through donations. Like Guardian doesn't provide any, like Guardian HQ doesn't provide funding for us. So it's not, some people think, oh, it's like if you have so many kids, you're going to get so much. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
Like the program is run off the donations from the community or from people that choose to donate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that, so just, you know, that's something I think it's important to understand. Like,
yeah.
You know, my whole thing with the youth program was like, I don't want to have to say no to any kid that wants jujitsu. Nice. And I so far have not. We have 56 kids that are sponsored, and we have like I think almost 100 kids in the whole program. Nice. So some of the kids are paying tuition, of course, because it's based on like the income of the parent.
Yeah.
And you know, it costs, let's say, it doesn't cost me money to bring a new kid on. Yeah. It costs time. It costs, you know, having people on the mat.
Of course.
But really, when we have all the kids, the energy is amazing to experience. And the rhythm, you know, when the more kids you have, the more rhythm, like the better the rhythm is. And like the kids really kind of, it's become like amoebic, you know, everything just, the kids are all present. They're all great kids. And they love it. They love jiu-jitsu for whatever reasons that they love it. You know, some love the idea. They love sparring. They love the community. They love that they have a safe place to go. You know, and that you don't have to be athletic to do jiu-jitsu. You don't have to, you know, there's no season in jiu-jitsu. It's all year long. Yeah. You don't have to worry about not getting picked for the team. Yeah. Because you can all do it. Yeah, exactly. And, you know, and it doesn't matter your body type, anything like that. Anybody can do jiu-jitsu. And so that's what makes it, like, I think, really great for underserved communities. So we've been, you know, building that program out and expanding in the community and periphery communities, because LA is huge, but our program is getting some good traction. That's really cool. Yeah, absolutely. I think the other thing too is like the close proximity, right? Like you're literally grappling with somebody who might be a friend from school, might not be a friend from school, right? But you're having that interaction and learning to grow and stay calm and all of the benefits, right, from that close quarters training in, as you say, a safe environment, right? Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. I could see for sure it being, you know, a great benefit to anyone really, but yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, you know. To me, jiu-jitsu, especially for the kids, is really just a vehicle for these kids to learn to take agency from themselves, find, you know, self-confidence in a way that comes from themselves. Like I've told the superpower story. I'll tell it again. It just, you know, a lot of times the kids when you're a kid, you know, you get made fun of because maybe you're too tall, maybe you're too broad, maybe you're this or that. It could be anything. But in jiu-jitsu, usually that one thing that people make fun of you about is the thing that makes you find your superpower in jiu-jitsu. Right. Like it's like if you're a little tiny person, you can fit into these spaces. If you're fast, you have long feet, man, you have amazing hooks. If you you know, all these things end up becoming strengths for you. Yeah. And that's what we try to like emphasize. Like your uniqueness is a strength. It's 100%. It's not a thing that you should worry about and people make fun of you, because here it works for you. Yeah. And so and then again that kind of ties into like the management of people, like understanding people's needs, you know, the kids' individual needs, but even people like, look, guys, this is what makes you unique, and this is what you can use it for. Yeah. And build that up. Nice. You know? Yeah. I like that a lot. I think it's interesting also because it's so tactile, right? Like it's so applied that in some cases you might use words to explain. In other cases you might demonstrate. Some might be more visual, others, but there's
it's a learning environment that's appropriate for all learning types, right?
Yeah,
like,
100%.
And that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. The way I look at jiu-jitsu, like, and even for me personally, like, it's, as I've gotten older, like, it's not the combat aspect of jiu-jitsu, although back in the day I was like, oh yeah. For me, it's like, I look at it as like puzzle solving, really intense puzzle solving. And it's engaging for my brain. And it keeps me physically active. I mean, I'm 50 years old now, but I feel better than I have in my whole life.
For the record, you do not look 50, not even close.
Thank you.
But yeah.
I appreciate it. Yeah. Well, 20 plus years in the kitchen with all that grease on my skin kind of moisturized my skin. And then jiu-jitsu, all the sweat. So, thank you. It's
it does end up being like there's so many aspects. I think I see where you're going with this, which like there's the physicality of it for sure, the self-defense component, but it's so much more, right? Like I can be stuck in bottom side, or I actually have to, okay, how the heck do I get out of here? Right? And that can be a valuable learning experience if I'm in the right mindset. You know?
and jiu-jitsu like definitely teaches you how not to panic in a pressure situation. But this is something I've been thinking about a lot. Like somebody should do like an oxytocin study for jiu-jitsu because the close proximity, even though it's under pressure, but once you start doing jiu-jitsu, like it starts to become relaxing in this weird way. And I kind of always wonder, like, what chemicals does jiu-jitsu activate in your brain or your body that kind of leads you to like calm down? You know?
Well, and I mean, study upon study at this point is talking about the harms of social media and just mobile phones, because now our sample size is like a lot bigger, right? Like whenever the iPhone came out, I don't know, 2004 or something like that, to now, it's a good 20 years of data, and they're seeing a whole bunch of problems cropping up and just people feeling more isolated. Who knew that you get all the information and only to be more isolated? But such is life, I guess. And then jiu-jitsu is really the opposite, right? Like, so I find I get so much endorphins or whatever it is, as you say, that is released, right? Like, especially following class, a good training session, kind of sitting, chatting with friends, sweat is still dripping, you know what I mean? And I feel alive, right?
Absolutely.
I think it's sorely needed more and more as we go towards like
absolutely
wherever the heck we're going.
I mean, I think about just the contact aspect, right? We think about when you go through life, how little actual physical contact you have with people. And then how, I don't know, prior to jiu-jitsu, like when you bump into somebody, like, or somebody touches you, like kind of freak out. Like with jiu-jitsu, you're kind of like, oh, that's okay. Just hands on my arm. I know, you're not so panicked. It doesn't elevate your adrenaline so quickly. You're just kind of like, okay, I can deal with that. Or you have natural reflexes to deal with that. Like, I don't know how many times, somebody comes up to you, like grabs you in a certain way, and you're just like, naturally you want to arm drag them, you know what I mean? But it's there if you need it, you know what I mean? Because you've done it. It's like, it's reflex at that point.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, but not in a panicked way. It's just like, oh, it's there.
Yeah, for sure. It's true. It's actually, depending on the culture, some cultures hug more than others. Some really don't. And it's funny because I don't know if it's because jiu-jitsu is Brazilian, or at least the style that we do originates from there. But and through capoeira is the same thing. Like, they're very passionate people, right? Hugging is not a problem. Showing of emotion is not a problem. In fact, this is the other side of the spectrum, really. So for me, like having a French Canadian background, it wasn't all that foreign. Like, it was kind of similar. We can be loud or passionate, hug and laugh and all these things. And men cry if they are supposed to. Like, it's not, it's not weird. But whether that's the type of cultural background that you come from or not, in jiu-jitsu, it's perfectly normal, right? To like kind of pressure test that your reactions to whatever scenario, whether it's a terrible crossface or, maybe you're winning, whatever it is. Like, but you're right. Under normal circumstances, I don't think I've ever hugged anybody at work, you know what I mean? Like, or in traffic or anything like that. Like, there isn't very much physical contact at all.
No, not at all. I mean, something, I was actually just talking to somebody about this a couple weeks ago, and I bring it up in class, and it sounds a little woo, but empathy, like in jiu-jitsu, like something that we are actually doing, and it's unconscious, I think, this is my theory, is we're exercising a lot of empathy in a way where we can use it to our advantage or not. Because when you're training with somebody or you're competing against somebody, it's like, I feel like I'm doing best when I can identify where they're at in terms of how they're feeling.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
And
and somebody, you know, trying was kind of like, well, isn't that more like sensitivity? And I would say no, because I'm sensitive to what they're doing, but I'm also feeling what they're feeling and using that to my advantage.
Right.
So inadvertently, like
tactical empathy.
Yeah, no, I know it sounds crazy, right? It's super crazy, but I feel like I'm a more empathetic person because of jiu-jitsu, to be honest. And I think empathy is one of those things that is greatly lacking these days.
I completely agree.
And so I do talk about it in like the way of like tactical empathy, but trying to identify like what's that person going through, right? How are they feeling? Because like when you're say, and Shawn used to say this, when you're training in somebody or you're competing and you hear, like go, that they're done, and to me in my mind that's like, I felt that, I felt you.
Yeah,
give
absolutely.
up. And that's my time to go.
Yeah.
It sounds crazy, but it's
no, that's really interesting. Yeah, no, there's I know that feeling. I mean, I think we've all been there at one point, right? Where you're just like just completely deflated. And then if you're on the flip side, it's like this surge of energy just comes out of nowhere. You're like, all right, now I'm onto something, right? Like whatever I'm doing is working.
Yeah.
Which is so interesting. I never considered it from, as you say, like from an empathetic point of view, though, and it's true, like, because that translates really neatly into everyday life, right? Like you have at least a subtle awareness of what somebody else might be going through, or at the very least, that consideration of like, because fundamentally we don't know what another person is going through, right, on daily life. And I find empathetic people, generally speaking, will consider that before saying something, before doing something rash, overreacting or what have you, right? Like, or when the endorphins are still, going through your system and you're feeling good after training, but you're driving home and you get cut off, it's not a big deal, right? Whereas maybe if you're in a rush and you're on your way to work and then all of a sudden it's like, I hate you, like you don't really, but we're so much better prepared for a confrontational situation as a result of training.
And better decision makers, like on the other end of that, like in training, like, so if say we're in the training room and you're working with somebody and you've got their number, you can make the choice to like back off or make other choices, do other things. That's
a great point.
And give that person an opportunity to work through something, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, 100%.
And at the end of the day, that makes them better as well.
Yeah.
And because the goal in the training room should be to make everyone better, and we have to do that together. And so empathy is a big part of that. Like if you're just constantly slaughtering your training partners, they're not going to want to train with you. They're going to hate jiu-jitsu. And it's like, no, we don't want that. What we want is all of us to get better. So when okay, I got this guy's number, I know they're defeated. Yeah. You can back off. Then make a different choice. Try something you wouldn't normally do.
100%. Yeah.
Build your own game. You know what I mean? That's how I kind of look at it.
Nice. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. I have a little bit of experience in judo, and judo is funny. Sometimes even your willing training partner, I think it's because of falling as we get older. Unless you did it as a kid. Yeah. It's a big deal. Some of the throws, are kind of scary, and most of the time nobody gets hurt, but it can happen. Yeah. Finding a good uke, like somebody that will give you the look that you need to practice the technique, sometimes is difficult, right? And I found that, like, I had to learn that actually the likelihood of me getting hurt is actually lowered if I do a good job at being a good partner, right? And so then we're both winning as a result. Yeah. And so it's actually judo that was the first grappling art form that like turned that light on for me, right? And then subsequently I realized it's the same thing in jiu-jitsu.
100%. Yeah. No, I can't agree with you more. Like, so when I I used to do a lot of filming with Shawn for his instructionals.
Nice.
You know, I'd be his uke or I'd be his uke in class a lot. And I can't tell you, I probably did most of my learning when I was his uke.
Right.
Because I got to feel the techniques, but it was in this like environment where it was, you know, a little bit slowed down.
Yeah.
But it was like I could feel it happening to me. And, you know, I talk about like reverse learning. So like, and Shawn would bring it up, and I've kind of thought about it more and more. And when I explain it to people, I'm like, guys, when you're learning a technique, you're not only learning the technique, you're learning how to get out of the technique. You're learning how to beat the technique. And let me explain it to you. It's like, okay, because usually when you learn a technique, you learn it in pieces, right?
Yeah.
So you learn it from the very beginning to as it gets worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
And you're learning all the pieces that you need to beat in that technique in order to defend that technique.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't think that's thought about much because like you're just trying to focus on like the technique, right?
Right.
But if you know the technique backwards and forwards, you know how to get out of the technique for the most part, you know? And part of being a good uke is understanding the technique, like what they need for the technique.
Yeah.
And that's hard at first, you know, when you first learn
Yeah, for sure.
jiu-jitsu, because you don't know anything and you don't know what you don't know, as Shawn would say. But like, you know, as you get more experienced, like to me, it's like so important to slow things down for yourself.
Yeah.
And I like to say that, you know, as I've been doing jiu-jitsu longer, how instead of trying to think of everything as separate and disparate techniques, like find all the similarities in the things and how the mechanics of doing a Kimura is the same as an omoplata, except you're doing it with your legs.
It's true. Yeah.
And look for those similarities, and then you understand the mechanics of the thing so that you can achieve it in different settings.
Nice.
You know, and like I kind of try to simplify it and break it down in these ways, like what is actually making the thing work.
Yeah.
Whether I'm using my arms or my legs, you know, and then go from there.
Nice.
But it's like it simplifies it so much more than trying to like, oh, I'm, you know, sorry. It's just like I wish I could give you a really good example right now, but it happens all the time.
Yeah,
you're
no,
like
absolutely.
doing something and I'm like, oh yeah, this is the same as this.
Yeah.
But it's just in a different context.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm trying to activate that in my brain has made jiu-jitsu like all the more exciting too for me, and because it's just another way of looking at it. You know, like I firmly don't believe in boredom. You know, and I in fact, it's a bad word in here.
Yeah, oh, there you go. It's a choice.
Yeah,
right? Like, you can choose to be bored, I guess,
so like I always, you know, try to look at things from a different standpoint and then break it apart, put it back together.
Nice.
And then you learn so much more about it, and it just makes it all the more interesting.
Yeah.
There's just so many details.
Yeah.
That you know that make. That's why jiu-jitsu is amazing, because it's endless. You can never know all of jiu-jitsu. And it always changes.
But isn't that funny? Like, because there's a finite number of ways that the human body can move, right? Like within ordinary parameters. But when it comes to jiu-jitsu, it seems the combinations are just endless.
Yeah.
And it keeps evolving. Trends come and go, right? And what's old is now new, and vice versa. And you know, after I think EBI and a few of the like Danaher death squads and things like that, leg locks were, and 10th Planet of course as well. Like leg locks was new, quote unquote, but you know, there's photos of Kodokan judo or pre-Kodokan judo applying footlocks and things like that, right? Like, and other art forms as well. Like, so they're not new per se, but when you look at any given position or problem that you're facing, you're absolutely right. Like, there's almost countless ways of approaching it.
Yeah.
Right? Some might work, some might not, some might be better, more efficient. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely. Well, let's take Sao Paulo Pass, for instance.
My least favorite pass.
Right.
There we go.
So Sao Paulo Pass, like, you know, back in the day, it was like everybody, you know, it was like a strong pass. People were doing it. And then people figured out how to beat it. Now it's coming back into style.
Yeah.
And I think my theory is like, it's just that now people are really, really thinking more about like how the technique is done. And, and this isn't, I'm not saying anything against the Brazilian instruction, but like, people are going into the meta of things, and I don't need, and again, that's like, I hate to say that word. I don't even like that word, but like really looking at like what is actually happening. So now the Sao Paulo Pass is coming back into style because people have a really much better understanding of like what they're actually doing, and understanding body types and really looking at themselves and how their bodies work. Because I think back in the old days, when I first started jiu-jitsu, it was kind of like, do it this way, this way, this way, this way. It was just 1, 2, 3.
Right.
But that doesn't work for everybody.
100%.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But the thing about jiu-jitsu is that you can make these things work if you understand your own body and what your body can do.
Yeah.
And playing within those parameters, then you can get better at jiu-jitsu. Yeah. You know what I mean? But if you're just trying to like put a square peg in a round hole, it's never going to happen,
Yeah, I think there is some of that though, right? Like banging your head against the wall and like for a while, but then you realize, okay, maybe there's a better way to do it. But it's funny that you mentioned that, because like coaching for me is a little bit more recent, right? Like I did teach in capoeira, and then I transitioned over to jiu-jitsu, and at first I had this great big imposter syndrome, because like, who the hell am I, right?
Yeah.
Like there's Craig Jones, there's Robert Drysdale, you know what I mean? There's these giant names, 10-time world champions, Roger Gracie, et cetera, et cetera. So who am I to teach? And then I realized that was not the right way to look at things. And it's also, as a result, been immensely rewarding for me on a personal standpoint, technical standpoint, right? Like, as you said earlier, like explaining the technique, you really get the ins and outs of it. From the uke perspective, but from the tori's perspective too, right? And it dawned on me the other day when I was teaching a fundamentals class, and I've found I had to find ways that I was able to explain hip escapes in a way that would translate into more success. Like, because just like shrimp wasn't it didn't make any sense. But then I realized, like, my goodness, some people really don't move their body very much, or might not have physical awareness. They're like, no, your left arm. No, your other left.
No, Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? And so all walks of life really come with, and to your point, their own advantages as well, right? Like they might be super quick to take on like a triangle technique for some reason, whereas for me, still have a shitty triangle. But yeah, that's been an immensely rewarding aspect of teaching as well. Right?
Yeah. Well, tell me this. I have a question. So like in your teaching experience, because this has happened to me, where I'll be in the middle of teaching a technique that I've probably taught like a million times, not a million, but I'm exaggerating, but many times.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like in the technique while I'm teaching, and nobody knows this is happening, but you come to a weird realization about the technique. You're like, holy shit, I never noticed this before. But absolutely. Wow, this is like, has that happened to you?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And the inverse as well, where like I show it, and the uke who's I'm showing it on is not responding the way that I expected.
Yeah.
And so it opens my eyes to, well, what am I going to do if this is actually what happens, right? Because my intent was for you to roll over your shoulder, and you're not rolling. So either, you know what I mean? Like, So both sides of that coin, like it's immensely rewarding. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, no, it is. It's cool when you have those aha moments in the middle of teaching, and you like can latch onto it and keep that. That's why teaching is so awesome. It just, it opens that up. I mean, I liken teaching sometimes to like when I cooked and you're like in a pressure environment, it's like all of a sudden you're like, it's slow, and then you get slammed with like 20 tickets and blah, blah, blah. Teaching, you're on the spot in that same way. And it's like, how do you respond to, say, when the uke doesn't do something that like they're supposed to, you know? What is it? And you have to examine, you have to say in that split second, like, it is something that I did. Yeah. Is it something I did incorrectly? Or is there just some kind of a strange reaction? Oh, well, what can we do with this? Yeah. And then work from that. And that's really exciting to me. It's, I find it enjoyable and challenging in a good way. Yeah. Whereas sometimes, and maybe because I enjoy pressure environment, like someone might be like, oh, fuck. But I don't feel that way. Yeah.
Well, I mean, between the kitchen, and the competition mat and the cage, you're not afraid of pressure. I'll tell you that.
I thrive under pressure. If I'm idle, I'm like a shark, I'll just sink to the bottom of the ocean and die, because that's when everything starts to hurt.
Fair enough. Yeah. Shifting gears now, I wanted to ask you about some of the partnerships that you've got, because you work with some pretty amazing organizations.
Yeah. So, I'll start off. I want to give out just shout out to Show Your Roll, because they've donated so many gis and gear for our kids.
Nice.
That gi is an expensive piece of equipment, and they have just been just amazing and generous and kind, and helping us spread our story. Dolomers donated mats to us.
Nice.
For the kids. We're working on a mobile program, so we have a lot of rollout mats. You can see, I don't know if the camera can see this, but partnered with Guardian Los Angeles and LAPD, their CSPB program, which is the main one I want to really give a shout out to. So LAPD's, the CSPB program is the Community Safety Bureau, and what they do is there are these hubs in a lot of the parks here in South LA and rec centers, and they provide activities, after school activities for the kids. And so in 2022 we partnered with South Park, which is east of the 110 here. It's Newton Division, very low income neighborhood, and they asked me if I could go teach over there. And I was like, well, I kind of just opened a jiu-jitsu academy. And I would love to, but how about this? We have the Guardian program. If you guys can bring the kids here, why don't we try that?
Yeah. So
they started bringing kids over in the vans.
Nice.
And they've been in our program. I've had kids in that program since 2022. In fact, one of them helps coach our youth program. And then, so now we've expanded to Algin Sutton, Pueblo, and Harvard Park. And this program is more than just, youth programs, so what the LAPD CSPB program does, it takes policing back to community policing and, old school, walking the beat, people knowing their communities, the people that it's not just driving the car and enforcement. These guys work their butts off, do a lot of volunteer work, and the kids know them, the people that their parents know them. They have relationships in these communities.
Yeah.
And if you go and look at any of the statistics for the communities that have a CSPB program, crime rates have dropped.
Yeah.
There are all these parks 4 years ago, 5 years ago, you couldn't go into them. And now these parks are open for kids to play.
Nice.
And they provide all these programs. So jiu-jitsu now being one of them. These guys don't get enough credit. I was just this morning, we were handing out turkeys for the kids at Harvard Park.
Yeah.
And so the deputy chief, her name is Ruby Flores, and she was there. She happened to be there today. It was amazing. So she runs the whole CSPB program, and she's an amazing woman. She was one of the first Latina deputy chiefs in LAPD.
Nice.
And I just want to encourage everybody to kind of look into that program and support that program for LA, because they are doing a tremendous job at reducing crime, building trust back with the LAPD.
Yeah.
And they do just tremendous work. I just want to give a shout out to the couple, Officer Quentin Blanton, Officer Michael Moreno, Officer Munoz. I mean, so many. Officer Flores. I mean, these people, they're humans. They're people look at police officers all the time and they don't think authority, or there's always that little bit of stigma. But
of course, yeah.
I know these people now as humans, and how they give back to the community, and their compassion for the kids and the communities. They really, really care. And so, and that's coming from somebody who was very afraid of law enforcement when I was in my youth,
Fair. Yeah.
And my whole, mindset has changed because I know these people and the work that they do and how committed they are to the community. So
that's amazing.
Please, take some time and look into the program and support it.
Nice.
Yeah, those are, I mean, I think those are the main ones I would say. You know, and I guess shout outs just to the South LA community in general, because they really are the ones that have been supporting the Guardian program.
Nice.
And a lot of the people that donate to our program, they can't really afford to, let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
It's, we don't have big donors. Most of it's grassroots community, small investments here and there, we do need more donors to the youth program, especially now that we're growing. We have so many kids, we're looking for a new space to accommodate, because we don't, we have 1,300 square feet of mat space. We would run multiple kids classes at a time, but we can't because the parents work.
Right.
They don't get off work till 5 to bring their kids to 5:30. So a lot of places have youth classes at 4, 4:30, 3:30. We can't have that because people here that live here, they just don't have the time or the money.
Yeah.
So, we're looking for a larger space in order to run multiple classes at a time and bring more kids to the mats, because we have it, but we don't have the space right now, and so we're looking for that.
I'm willing to bet that for the kids that have been with you the longest, I should ask in the form of a question. In fact, have you seen changes in them as a result of training jiu-jitsu?
Oh yeah, 1,000-fold. I mean, I'll give a direct example, but what I see usually is with these kids, they come in and they're withdrawn. They don't know how to look somebody in the eye and speak to them. They don't take any agency. They mumble. And I will tell you, all the kids that have gone into this program that have stayed at least a couple months, they know how to talk to someone, look them in the eye. They understand how to speak up for themselves, because we encourage that. We do metrics and surveys to find out from the parents how the kids are doing. Because part of being in the Guardian program is that the kids have to, do their best in school. If they need help, then we try to provide them, find tutor for them or what have you.
Nice.
Or encourage that. And help out at home, things like this. That's one of the stipulations of being a sponsored kid in the Guardian program. And so, I mean, I just did a survey the other day, and all of the responses were an improvement.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's encouraging.
And we think it's really important to keep those metrics, because that's how we know that the program is actually working.
Absolutely.
And it is working, and we've gotten really great feedback from the families and the parents. Especially some of those kids. We've gotten some kids that are in, gang risk, high risk for gang. So there's grid program. We've gotten kids from the grid program, and just night and day, in terms of how they conduct themselves.
That's
and
awesome.
I'm really proud of the program that we've built here. And again, it's not just me. It's about every kid that's on the mat that helps the other kids, and how because there's a trickle down mentorship that happens. Our older kids kind of mentor the younger kids. Those older kids, they're allowed to go into the adult program, provided they do well in school, help out at home. And those kids, they meet the adults in our adult program, and they conduct themselves like adults, and they're here to train. They're serious about it. And I have, adults that work in aerospace, they work in film, they work in all kinds of industries. So there's this natural mentorship that happens. And, it's, I don't know any other sport that's like that, because usually kids are isolated in these, groups, and then that's 100%. It. You move on. That's it. Doesn't work. Jiu-jitsu is not like that. It's something you can do till you're 80, Yeah.
And it's obvious once you say it, but it's maybe not obvious from the outside looking in. You might not have access to different social circles, right? And so, as you say, you're on the mats here as a young adult, and you're talking with an aerospace engineer, you're talking with a doctor, you're talking with a nurse. You know what I mean? People from different cultural backgrounds, or just the work that they do. You might find out, hey, I'm interested in knowing more about this.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, you get to benefit from somebody else's perspective, which you might not otherwise have. But it's that thing that, like, you know, even in Burbank where I train, you know, we've got a doctor. We probably have a Republican next to a Democrat. Like, these things don't factor in the fact that we're all, you know, civil and human and collaborating on the mats, and as a result, building rapport, right? And so, yeah, I can see it being immensely valuable just in that respect. Right?
Yeah, it's an amazing process that happens. It makes me feel emotional when I see those connections happen.
Yeah, hell
you know. I mean, in fact, I have one of my students is a teacher at a school, and one of the students here happens to be going to be at her school next year. And she's like, man, oh my goodness, I don't know if, this is good. I mean, you know, she's like, well, I can't work with him. I was like, totally, no problem. I understand. But, you know, it's funny, you know, how that happens, like this intermingling. But, you know, our big push this year, again, is to get a new space. And then we're going to start introducing STEM or STEAM learning. Nice. Because jiu-jitsu organically has all those things too. You know, we talk about physiology. All my kids, you know, when they're learning anatomy in jiu-jitsu, I teach them the muscle groups. I teach them about nerves. I teach them about all these things. Learning about biomechanics, engineering. We were talking about, in fact, we were talking about simple machines the other day. And so, you know, it's organically all there. So we're just gonna we're gonna, you know, sneak it into our curriculum. So the kids, when they get to it in school, they're like, oh yeah, I know about that. It's jiu-jitsu. And because the way I look at
that, but
like when I was a kid, I struggled with a lot of those things. And it wasn't until I got older and I was able to apply them and understand context that they mattered to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you know, that's a big push for us this year because, you know, the education part, there's a lot of education to be had learning jiu-jitsu without it being like forced or didactic. It's just already part of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you give it some thought, you can introduce that in a very practical way.
100%.
So make the program more enriching. We want it.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you're thinking like mass, speed, power, leverage, fulcrums, you know, like timing, all these things. Yeah, it's very scientific to a certain extent.
Absolutely. No, it's exciting. Yeah. I'm this year we're super excited about this upcoming year. It's gonna be
your fourth year being in this location?
Fourth year in the location, first year being our own nonprofit.
Nice.
Guardian. Amazing. You know, Omni has been here for 4 years, and you know, to me they're one and the same. Yeah. Actually, so I don't differentiate them.
Same goal, right? Same focus.
It's about the community and just building up the community, being part of the community, and so on. Yeah.
Fantastic. This is really what it's about. I mean, if you ask me, I'm really happy that I got a chance to come out here. I want to thank you again for taking the time.
Yeah.
And I know we've got in the books, I think Wednesday the 10th, I'm going to come back, do some training.
Please, yeah.
You know, I'm super excited to meet some of your students.
Yeah, right? I'm excited. Thank you, man. This is, I really appreciate you letting Guardian Omni let us tell you our story here in South LA, because I don't feel like a lot of people know about it yet. And I mean, it's a privilege to think. So I really appreciate it. And it's so good to meet you, man.
The privilege is all mine, honestly. Like, you know, somebody coming from another country and settling here, I mentioned on the phone, like in my 40s, it's not so easy to make friends and stuff. Yeah. So the privilege is truly mine, like just to be able to be here. So yeah, I'm excited for coming back, doing some training, and more to come, you guys.
Yeah. Thank you very much, guys.
Coach, thanks so much.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, man.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cheers.